Hello, and for this tutorial I'm going to sort of show you how to do hard surface modeling. So what we're going to do in this one, we're going to make just a little sort of desk, like a computer desk. So first of all, I've got the cube in the middle, and the middle mouse button allows me to spin around and right click if I press A to deselect everything, so I'm not selected, and I can right click stuff to select stuff. Because I prefer it, I'm going to go into this display panel on the side, which is opened by pressing N on your keyboard. That's N for November. Turn on ambient occlusion. I'm going to turn on matcap. And under matcap, there's a couple of different ones. It's just a basic texture to make it easier to see for the most part. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything by pressing A. That's A for alpha, and then press X and delete that. And I'm going to go add mesh plane, and I'm going to press 1 on my numpad to go to the front view. I'm just going to put that one up to there. Okay, now I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to extrude this one down by 1 by pressing E. And just to show you that again, while in edit mode, you can press E for echo to extrude, and then hold Control to lock it to the grid, and then left click when you want to place it. And if you get this sort of weirdish color, which you might not get, but you can just press W when you've got everything selected. So A to select all, W, flip normals. Yeah, and to go between edit and object mode, you can do it down here, or you can press tab. So currently we've got ourselves a cube. I'm going to go on to face select mode down here, select this face. I'm going to press 7 to look from above. I'm just going to drag this out while holding down Control till I get a sort of desk shape here. And we'll go with something about that size. I'm going to bring this up a little bit more, not locked to the grid. Perfect. Now I'm going to want a side panel here. So I'm going to go bring it over this. I want it to stop just before the end there. Then bring over a second one and make this roughly-ish square. Now I'm going to go on to edge select. Not yet, I'm not. I'm going to add another one just off the edge again. Another one just off the edge there. And I'm doing this with holding Control, pressing R, and you can move that around to different parts. Now I'm going to go back onto face select and select this piece. And I'm going to press 1. I'm going to bring this one down to about there. There should be perfect. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing, but on this side. So I'm going to put Control R just before the edge, and there. You don't actually have to do it exactly the same as me. I'm making a particular bench that I can sort of think of, just to make sure that's even. Yes, it is. And if you selected something and you've accidentally moved it like that, or anything really, and you've made a mistake, and you're thinking, oh no, now what? If you press Control, hold Control down, and press Z. So just Control Z it to undo. Brilliant. So you notice I got it slightly off. So this red line is acting as my floor. It's also where the grid is if I'm in this view. And that's being my floor. Brilliant. So this is, I'm slightly off the floor currently. I'm going to put sort of bars on the side which support it, or supports, or whatever you want to call them. So let's do that now. Let's go cube. I'm going to press 7. Shrink it down. I'm going to delete the cube and press My mouse cursor currently, you'll notice, isn't in the middle. I want it to be directly in the center. So if I press Shift C, it'll center it. Now I can add mesh cube, and I'm going to go into edit mode, shift it up so it's perfectly on that. Then I'm going to change my pivot point to the 3D cursor and scale it down so that it scales on the 3D cursor. There we go. I'm going to pull it to about there. I might want it a little bit. I'm going to change the pivot point back to a bounding box center just to get it roughly centered. It doesn't need to be perfect. Go into edit mode, bring it out. I'm going to scale it a little bit more. About there, then put it back on the floor. That looks about right. And then I'm going to extrude it up. No, I'm not. I'm going to just move it up. 7. I just want to sort of position this sort of over that piece and not sticking out. So it's like that. Perfect. Now, rather than now duplicating this and putting it over there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go modifiers, which is on this side here, add modifier, mirror, turn off X and turn on Y. And there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Alt D to duplicate and make a copy, and just pull it over here. Now to position it just right. Again, doesn't really need to be perfect. Just going for a roughly, generally to match the other one. And there we go. So we've got a basic bench going on here, desk, sorry. I might want to separate this piece. So let's do that. Go into face select mode, go to front view, and I'm just going to select that piece. Now I'm going to press P and separate. And now you'll notice that this is on a separate piece. I'm also going to add the face in there, because if I bring this out currently, you'll notice it is got everything in it. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. Face select mode, press 1, press Z to go onto wireframe mode, C for selection mode. Just drag through the little dots of the place where it goes, so you can do that. And while in C for selection mode, you can pull out in order to like that, and you can middle click to remove. I just want those ones for now. Separate. And there we go. I'm gonna shift this piece out, and you'll notice that it's got no top, which is what I was doing on the other one. So I'm going to go on to line select mode, select a line, and press F. And there we go. I can pull this piece back in. I will reset all the origin points to the middle at the end. Actually, I can do that now. And I'm just going to go set origin. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that yet, because these pieces rely on this origin for their mirror. So we're not going to set the origins yet, or the mirror will move. Okay, so this top piece now, that's its own piece. And this piece here doesn't have a top. Look, we're going to add that on now. There we go, now it has a top. It's its own piece. And these two are currently attached, but we can separate those later. What else do we want? We might decide that we want to put another cube in. I'm going to put this cube up here. scale it a little bit. I'm going to press 3 to go onto side select view. And just sort of put it up in this corner, a bit like this. We'll put a little cupboard in, that's what we'll do. And sort of just overlapping. I look about right. I actually think it might be the desk is a little bit long. Okay. And is there a bit of a gap up here? Oh, I see. I'm going to click on this piece, press H to make it disappear, because I don't have a line. There we go. That fixes that. And if I check this side as well, it's probably the same. Yeah, it is. Okay, now I'm going to press Alt H to bring it all back. This is looking better now. We've got slightly more of a proper shape. I'm going to press 1. Obviously, we're going to want a front on this because we don't want it to be like that. So I'm going to press I to indent. I'm going to press E to extrude. And I'm going to right click, go onto side view, and just drag this back until it's about where I want it. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm going to go back into this view. I'm going to add a loop cut here. I'm going to shift it down a tiny bit and add a loop cut here. And I'm going to shift this down. The way I'm doing this, by the way, is you double tap G. Very simple. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to delete that face, and that face. And then X, delete the faces. Then I'm going to go click on that one, and that one, and press F. And that one, and that one, and press F. And then that one, and press F. Now we've got 2 different levels on that one little piece. And that looks nice. But we probably still want a door. So I'm going to shift this back a tiny bit so the door sort of nicely slots onto that. But we probably want it to open outwards rather than inwards. I'm actually going to quickly shift this back over. We probably want it to open this way, don't we? So like that. So what we'll do is I'm going to go onto this one and I'm going to select like that. The way I do that, by the way, is if you hold down Alt and then just while on face select mode, right click on a line, it'll select the whole loop. Very convenient. And I'm going to 3 to go on side view, Z to go into the wireframe. I'm going to pull it out until I have a relatively squarish piece at the top. I'm going to use this as the way my door will sit. So I'm going to bring it out a tiny bit more than that. And then it's about there. And that looks like a good way for it to slot on. I don't actually need most of these lines, however. So I'm going to delete faces. Like that. And I'm also going to delete faces like that. And it leaves me with just this extra line. So I'm now going to select all around that loop. And I'm going to press P and separate. I'm going to select it quick, make it go invisible, and quickly heal up these lines. Should be quite a simple thing to do. Just right click on the different lines and press F. And I might even be able to just go around the outside like that. Yeah, I can. There we go. So we've got our full thing here. What I have. Now all I need to do for this is connect that, and then F. And that should be our little door. And that will open sort of to go like that, so that you can get in. And I should probably, there we go. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. Put it about like there. Quickly just pull this side in because it looks a bit off. Perfect. Now it looks a bit more like a door. We'll actually fix the door so that it works properly as well, but I'll do that in a minute. But what I want to do now is I'm going to go for a cylinder. So I'm going to add a cylinder, drop down these vertices because you just don't need that many. And I'm going to scale it. And this is going to be where the door handle goes, how the door handle fits on. So I'm going to cut this. Just going to rotate and spin it until I get a rough idea of how I want it. And I actually want it to actually intersect into the door slightly there. There we go. I'm going to quickly add a mirror on the Z axis and put it up a bit. And you'll notice that the Z axis for some reason seems to be sticking out because I angled it. So what I need to do is, while in object mode, click it with the right click, hold Control A, rotation and scale. Nice and simple. Now it's exactly where I want it. Just position it a bit. Pull this bit down a bit. And I'm going to bring this up. Just with extrude with E. And then I'm going to press extrude again. But this time I'm going to pop down that. Turn on clipping in the mirror. And just go like that. Now I'm going to go on to edge select. I'm going to pull this forward a little bit. Expand it a little bit. And that should make a sort of door handle looking thing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply this modifier. Go into the edit mode. And I'm going to dissolve these two. So X and then dissolve edges. Next I'm going to get this piece, and this piece. And I'm going to hold Control B. This is just going to round that off, make that sort of curved handle. And next up, I am actually going to pull this in a little bit because I feel like it's a bit far out than it needs to be. There we go. Now right click it, I'm going to hit smooth. And smooth is on the left. I'll show you that one in a second. I'm going to select both those end faces because they're not needed. Delete faces. Okay, so next up, just to quickly show you how I did it before. And this T, the menu on this left hand side is opened and closed with T. And when you want to smooth something, if you go into Tools, Shading, Smooth. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got our various different parts here. If I quickly make this piece and this piece disappear, I probably want this little drawer to be its own item. So we'll go that one, that one, that one, that one. So we've got all of this little drawer selected. Press P to separate by selection. Now I'm going to make it invisible. Go into edge select mode and just press F to fill in the gaps. Next I'm going to make that invisible. Next I'm going to make that one invisible. And do the same on this. Just fill in the gaps. You don't actually have to fill in the gaps, but personally I prefer to make sure the gaps are all filled in. And next I probably want to separate this as well. So let's go on to this one. Make sure that's selected. And this one here as well, I think I want. That's one of the front pieces. We're just going to select it and separate it. Make it disappear. Now, same again as before, I want to just add on all the lines. I'm going to bring it back, make that one disappear, and open the lines for this one. Brilliant. And now if I bring the other one back, you'll notice it's got that sort of curve there, and that's what we want. Because it all fits in nicely together. Sorry, I'm still a little bit ill, so I want this side piece as well. So make that one disappear, and that one disappear, and probably want all of these on different pieces. So I'm going to select this line to make sure that's all correct. P, separate that by selection, and then we're going to also select this. Right, this line. Check it. Yeah, separate that by selection. And finally, the top. And we'll separate that by selection. Where's this piece come from? I see, I'm going to just delete that piece for now. Because I believe it's part of this one. Yes, it is. So I'm going to make all of these disappear for a second while I go over this one. Hit the F button to add in all the edges. We're just going to get rid of these pieces. That one's done, that one's done, that one's done. There we go, that's what I want. The gap there, look. I want to fill that one in. Make that one disappear. And this one is, see, yep, make that one go around. Brilliant. Now, I think we're almost done. Bottom one's done. There's this one here. Perfect. So we've got the beginning of our little bench here. And just make sure the video is not too long. 23 minutes isn't too bad. And what shall I have a look? What we'll do then is I'm going to set the origin of this to 3D cursor. Actually, I think I can set everything to 3D cursor. Just to check. Yes, I can. That's fine. I'm going to put that onto there. So what I've done for that is I've right-clicked that. Now I'm right-clicking the door. As you can see, I've got that one's in orange and the door is in yellow. So now I can press Control P to set parent to the object. Now I actually don't want the origin point for this door where it is currently. I want the origin point to be right there. So if I go origin to selected, origin to geometry. Nope, okay, I need to set my cursor there first. So I'm going to say 3D, set 3D cursor. Okay, we'll do a different way. I'm going to take the vertex X on this right hand side, and I'm going to put it in the 3D cursor location. I'm not in global. Global. This right one. 3D cursor location. I swear I can do it like this though. Yeah, snap cursor to active. That's what I want. Now I want to go set origin. Need to be in object mode for that. Set origin to 3D cursor. Next up, I am going to turn off the rotation on the is it X and Y? So it should just open like that. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. And you'll notice that the little handle goes with it. There we go. So we've actually got ourselves a door now. Perfect. What else do we want? I don't think we need anything else. That's pretty much a desk, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm not going to go into texturing in this video. If you are interested in texturing and unwrapping and all of that stuff, do leave a comment or subscribe or get hold of me on Discord or anything like that. That's totally fine. I'm happy to go over it. But for this, I've just shown you how to make a sort of basic desk. All right. Thank you very much. Good luck.